Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse, and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Correllian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can type your questions or comments into whatever platform you happen to be watching on, and they should show up here in my chat room and we can talk directly. And today our subject is going to be, as it is on most Wednesdays, Correllian Press. Um, but first, a couple of other points. I am next week going to be narrowing down some of the platforms that I place this program on, specifically some of the Facebook pages. Um, the wider range of platforms is not going to narrow. In fact, it is more likely to expand. But I want to get the numbers more concentrated in certain areas to keep better track of things. I'm also hoping that people will start to individually share the program if they like it. So if you like this program, please feel free to share it on your page. And hello to Janet in the chat room. And Janet says, good afternoon, Reverend Don and everyone watching. And good afternoon, Janet. Good afternoon, Mary. Um, so if you like the program, feel free to share it on your page. I'm currently watching to see where most people are watching the program. Currently, most people seem to watch it on YouTube or the Divination TV page or Witch School, the official page. But I'm still looking at the numbers to try to come up with a um, a good idea of exactly where most people are, and those will be the pages that will continue to have it on a daily basis. I have been putting it out on like 15 different pages, and that's a little bit perhaps a little farther afield than I necessarily want to be posting it if nobody's watching it there, because there are certain pages, it gets one or two views. I think that if I can get those one or two people to watch on one of the other pages, we'll be better off. Anyway, this is what I'm being advised to do by social media um, consultants, so to speak. Um, I am hoping to also expand the number of platforms that I'm putting the program on um, in the next few weeks. So watch for that coming too. So it's not really a contraction; it's part of a larger expansion. Elsewhere in the news, yesterday our guest was Ed the Pagan. We were talking about his Pagan Power course, which is airing on Pagan World at pagan.world/pagan-power. Um, and the first class was last Saturday. The next one is this Saturday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And this is a very interesting subject. Of course, we talked about it yesterday, so I'm not going to go into great detail about it today, but I highly recommend the class. It's available to all supporters of Pagan World, available to my Patreons, available by invitation. Um, and so it's generally available. I believe that the first class can even be seen on Sir Edward's Facebook page. And Mary in the chat room says, this is awesome. Expanding is good. Yes, it is. And I'm looking at a number of things to expand in coming weeks, both this program and other things that I'm doing. Now, other things I'm doing, that brings us back to today's program, which is about Correllian Publishing. I was expecting to be joined by Chris Copeland today, but something seems to have gone wrong there, so it's just me. It may be the whole daylight savings time thing. I've noticed that this can cause confusion internationally, and of course, Chris is in the Netherlands. So she may not realize that this is the time for the program. Um, but we will work with where we are. Hello, Mary. Um, and it's good to see Mary. And one of the things I want to talk about today is divination. First, though, the next book coming out from Correllian Publishing will be Rev Don's Book of Astrology, currently in its final phases before we order them. So it will be here very soon. A number of people have pre-ordered it. You will have it more or less around the equinox. Um, you're probably within about a week of the equinox, so more or less at the time expected. And it's completely written at this point. We're just doing the final touch-ups, and then we'll be ordering it. I think you'll find it very interesting. It does actually include an analysis of my own astrological chart, which was an interesting thing to be including in a book. It was a very interesting exercise in self-reflection. Hello to Steve in the chat room. And so it not only talks about how to interpret a chart, it gives you an example of how to interpret a chart in the form of my own. And of course, if you're going to include um, an example of how to interpret a chart using your own is always a good idea. Some people in historical astrological books will choose well-known celebrities and analyze their charts, but in this case, we included mine. Now, another thing that we have recently brought into Correllian Publishing is divination. If you're interested in getting a reading, we have readers listed at Correllian Publishing, myself, Mary Hawk, and Brian Ellicott at this time. And if you would like a reading with one of us, by all means, go to correllianpublishing.com and you'll find them listed there. And part of that campaign today, I'll be doing mini readings if anyone's interested, beginning in a few minutes. But generally speaking, if you're interested in those mini readings, Mary and Brian do them at Tarot Thursday on Pagan World, or well, on Divination TV, um, and for usually about an hour, they're available to do mini readings for people, and usually once a month I will come on. But this couple of weeks we're going to do them here on Wednesday. And hello to Christine in the chat room. So if you would like to have a mini reading, let me know. And on the subject of mini readings, a mini reading is meant to be kind of an example of a reading. It's not really meant to be a complete reading, but depending on what's concerning you, it can deal with everything you really want to know. Um, but if you're really looking for a full reading, of course, you should go and get a full reading. But mini readings are interesting, and sometimes they'll tell you everything you need. When I do mini readings, I can do them for specific questions. Usually I just do general readings because they'll answer usually whatever you need to know. You don't really have to ask the question. And when I do readings for people, that's how I start. I will come to a point where I'll ask them if they have questions that they wish to ask. Um, but generally speaking, they find that those have already been answered by the time we get there. And Janet in the chat room says she would love a general mini reading. So let us do that. I have my cards. I will be shuffling them, but you probably will not be able to see that because the camera doesn't go that far down. But you can probably hear it. So I'm going to start by clearing them and then charging them for this reading. And we will start by drawing 3 cards. Generally, a mini reading is 3 cards, but we'll see what all is necessary. And the 3 cards that we have drawn are the 5 of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the 6 of Lamps. And you'll notice that the green in the cards is dropping out because I am using a green screen. A lot of people just use the more modern backgrounds that benefit from a green screen but don't require them. But because I've been doing filming for so long, I've got the green screen, so I figure I may as well use it. But that does mean that when something actually is green, it drops out. So the Five of Cups is our first card. The Five of Cups probably speaks to where Janet is right now or the immediate future, and it's a state of disappointment with certain things in her life. So I would say disappointment or sorrow. That probably Janet is not feeling too good about what's around her in some ways at this time. However, with it, we have the Queen of Coins, the Queen of Pentacles, which is prosperity. And it's saying, well, yeah, not everything is as it might be, but there's a lot of good there too. And instead of looking at the things that maybe aren't exactly as you'd like them, look at the good things, and you'll find there are plenty of them. And it's followed by the Six of Lamps. The Six of Lamps basically says that guidance is coming to correct those things that are not as you want them. You need to listen to your spiritual guidance. You need to meditate. You need to allow spirit to guide you to correct the things that need correcting. And in the meantime, pay attention to the good things. And if you do all of that, you'll be much happier with the situation. Final card is the Princess of Wands, which says it's not quite time for change yet, but that time is not far away. The changes that you need to see in your life are on their way to coming. And be patient. Look at the good things while you're looking for the inspiration to change the others. And if you do that, I mean, everything within that context should go well. And now Mary in the chat room says, well, for most readers, it's 3 cards. Yeah, I don't necessarily stop at 3 cards. I keep going till I've gotten everything that I feel needs to be said. For example, there it was actually 4 cards. And our next reading will be for Joanne Harrison. Hello, Joanne. And I'm going to shuffle the cards. And, mini readings, I've been doing them for some 30 years. I started them when I was working for the D&H Fair Circuit here in Central Illinois in my 20s. And they had a policy that their readers needed to give a lecture once during the day at the fair. And a lot of the readers were not accustomed to public speaking. At that point in my life, I really wasn't either. And their way of dealing with this was to do mini readings of whatever form of reading they did. And a number of the tarot readers would do this sort of mini readings. I remember some of them called it the Las Vegas Quickie reading. But I found that actually, for me, it was a very good way of doing readings, and somewhat changed the way that I do full readings, because I do tend to focus on 3 cards at a time. So for Joanne, our first card is the Prince of Wands, followed by the Nine of Swords, followed by Temperance. And there will be a 4th card. So the Prince of Wands, which speaks probably to where Joanne is right now, and all of this is the near future, the next few weeks to few months at most. The Prince of Wands says that a little more focus would be good. That energy is going out in perhaps too many directions and a little hard to govern. Nothing inherently wrong with it, except it's not getting you to where you want to go. It's followed by the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is called the Ghastly Nightmare card, and what it means is that whatever you're worrying about, which may be part of why the energy is going in many directions, whatever you're worrying about, you are going to have to deal with. But like a nightmare, it's only really going to hurt you if you fall out of bed trying to get away from it. Or to put that in different terms, if you face it head on, if you just deal with it and get it done, it's not going to be such a big issue. And But if you try to avoid it, it will only get worse. And this is partly because I've drawn the Seven of Cups to go with it, partly because there are parts of this that you do not currently see. So what I would say is that whatever that is that's worrying you, do a little more study about it, look a little more closely at it. And you may find that there are resources there that you've not previously been aware of, or options you've not previously been aware of that will make it less worrisome. And the whole thing is followed by temperance. And temperance says that the way you're going to deal with this is by making new situations out of old situations, by taking what you've already got, but creating something new from it. So the solutions to the problem are already there. You don't have to go out and get new ones, but you must make something. You must make different use of what you've already got in order to have the most satisfactory reaction to the situation. And if you do that, you'll have the Queen of Cups, which is happiness. So it looks like a very good outcome, but whatever it is you're maybe hoping to avoid, you must not avoid, but rather face it head on. And hopefully that's helpful. And Janet asks, when will the Infinite Tarot deck be offered again? I'm hoping this fall. I was saying that last year too, but last year was a very disruptive year. So we'll see what happens this year. But I'm hoping that we will probably do some sort of Kickstarter campaign in the way of bringing it back. Not exactly sure how we'll do that, not exactly sure of all the details, but I am looking at bringing it back this year. I know there are a lot of people who'd like to buy it, and so we are looking at bringing it back. And of course, it will be coming from Correllian Publishing. Pretty much everything I do comes from Correllian Publishing. And of course, we also have things coming from people other than myself, which I'm sure we'll be talking about next week. Now, Sherry Hudson has asked for a mini reading, so let us do one for her. And we will start again by drawing 3 cards. And 3 cards may be all that we need, or as Mary points out, we may need more. And our first card is the Prince of Swords. And the Prince of Swords says that in the situations Sherry is facing in the near future, again, the next few weeks, the next couple of months, it's very important to have a good, healthy dose of selfishness in dealing with them. Not a negative dose of selfishness, but rather make sure that what you need, you get. It would be very easy for you to go through these situations and not get what you need from them if you yourself don't pay attention to that. So do not be so nice that you give away the farm. Do not be so cooperative that you cannot get what you want from the situation. But make sure that that your boundaries are intact and you're getting what you need. Because if you don't do that, you won't get what you need. It's followed by the Empress, and the Empress says everything around you is going to be great. Everything in front of you is great. And as long as you follow that advice of using a good, healthy dose of selfishness, everything you get will be great. It's only if you do not claim what you need that you will not get it. So make sure you're watching your own interests. Nobody else will be watching them for you. Make sure you're watching them. And then we have the Two of Swords, and that says this involves another person with whom you have a partnership of some sort. Usually with the Two of Swords, it's not a romantic partnership, might be a business partnership, might be a friendship. But I would be inclined to say that person might be, not necessarily intentionally, although possibly intentionally, taking a little bit more from the situation than they should be taking. So make sure that you're drawing your boundaries where you need them to be. I am going to draw one more card, and I've drawn the Seven of Lamps. And to deal with this most effectively, it would be beneficial for you to do some self-purification, some personal cleansing, and maybe some shadow work to look at why you might not be setting those boundaries where they need to be. And I think that you will find that um, beneficial. So hopefully that is helpful. And Janet says, you're totally correct. Stress heavy on my mind, but there are things that will change the situation. That's wonderful. Christine says, I've been using your deck for a couple of years now. I bought your deck at the St. Louis Pagan Picnic. I will, by the way, be at the St. Louis Pagan Picnic this year. I was not um, this last couple of years because of all of the COVID situations, um, including um, when they first opened back up. I actually believe I had COVID myself. And of course, last year I just was not in physical shape to go. Hello to Nikki in the chat room. And Joanne says, thank you. Thank you, Joanne. Janet says, I love this deck. I have some of the expansions, but no OG deck yet. Yeah, we will have to, we definitely must bring it back. And hello to Leo in the chat room. And Leo says, could I get a mini reading, please? And also, when will the Hecate Tarot be coming back? Or will it be coming back? And yeah, again, the Infinite Tarot and the Hecate Tarot has become part of the Infinite Tarot. The Infinite Tarot also includes a number of expansion decks, but the Hecate Tarot in particular, within the Infinite Tarot, we do expect to bring back this fall. We just have to be able to have enough of an order to get a decent price. We have our decks printed through a particular site. It's called makeplayingcards.com. And they do a wonderful job. But uh, obviously, printing one tarot deck is quite expensive. So we're looking at probably doing a Kickstarter to be able to make a large enough order to be able to give them to you at a decent price. And let us read for Leo. And for people who are not familiar with the Tarot of Hecate, it is a 100 card tarot that I created back in the 1980s. It's the tarot I'm reading with. And I created it under the inspiration of Lady Bitterwind, who is one of our former first elders of the Correllian tradition, and my adoptive sister. Lady Bitterwind was a fascinating woman with a very unique way of looking at things, and she pretty much forced me to make a tarot deck. By the time I did it, it was no longer being forced, but she really was insistent that I must make a tarot, because she felt the artwork that I was doing was so symbolic that it just cried out to be a tarot deck. So we did the Tarot of Hecate. And it was originally done as a black and white deck to be printed by Gemini Press back in 1986, maybe. And Mary says, I absolutely love mine, the deck. And then it sat for 30 years because of various things that happened. Gemini Press, as far as I know, no longer exists. I'm assuming that the lady who ran it must have died. I never heard one way or the other. Janet says, Lady Bitterwind was extremely creative and generous. Yes, she was. She was an artist in her own right. Why she never did a tarot deck of her own, I don't know. But anyway, I kind of did it with her. And in the early 2000s, we came back to the Tarot of Hecate and added color to it. So you're looking at 30-year-old black and white artwork, and well, actually closer to almost 40-year-old black and white artwork and 20-year-old color artwork together. in one deck. So let us draw 3 cards for Leo. Our first card is the King of Wands. Second card is the Ace of Cups. Third card is the King of Pentacles. And one of the things you'll notice about the Tarot of Hecate um, is that there's a lot of black line work in the artwork, and that's because it was originally black and white. If I were doing, well, as you look at the other expansion decks of the Infinite Tarot, you'll notice the style is not the same because they were done in color. But if you go back to the 1980s, I was not really known for being a color artist. I was known for black and white work. So for Leo, first card is the King of Wands. The King of Wands is passion. And it says that in the immediate future, where your focus is going to be is where your passion is, the things you most care about. You're going to be very much oriented on dealing with these things. I'm going to draw another card to go with it. We have the Fool. I was hoping that would tell us exactly what part of life. The Fool is the higher self. It is the soul. So it's saying, this could be any part of your physical life, but it's coming from your spirit, and where your spirit is moving you is where your focus is going to be. And in that area, you have the Ace of Cups and the King of Coins. The Ace of Cups is happiness. The King of Coins is money. So I would say you have a very fortunate period coming in this next, 4 to 12 weeks, give or take. And as long as you allow yourself to be guided by your passion, everything's going to be really good. The Ace of Cups and the King of Coins are about as good as you could ask for in terms of the phenomena you can expect. And so I would say enjoy this period. And I've drawn another card for your outcome, and I've drawn the Princess of Lamps. And Lamps is a suit that we have in the Tarot of Hecate that we don't have in a normal tarot. The Princess of Lamps basically means sorcery, magic, but it means magic for yourself. And it's saying to focus on what you want to manifest, what you want to have in your life, and that's what you're going to have. So a very good period for Leo. With that, I see that we've come to the end of our half hour. I hope that I got everybody. But we may be doing this again next week, and if not, there's always Tarot Thursday, which comes every week. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about something about the history of board games and their spiritual significance, and probably a few other subjects that will work their way in. But I'll give you a little hint in saying that the spiritual significance of board games historically is very much related to funereal customs and ideas about the afterlife. So we may be talking in general about those subjects. We'll see where half an hour leads us. But with that, I want to thank you for joining me today. I love spending this time with you. I love talking with you. And please, if you enjoy the program, please consider sharing it on whatever platform you're watching on. If you're watching on Facebook, please share it on your Facebook page. If you're watching it on Instagram, share it on your Instagram page, or on YouTube, or wherever. And also please consider liking it. And Janet says, thank you for these wonderful readings today. Thank you, Janet. I'm glad it was good for you. I will see you again tomorrow, and let us close with our prayer, as we always do. Divine Mother God, yes, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we rejoice in this dance we dance together. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we ask you to help us to always be mindful of the guidance of Spirit, whether it comes to us through divination, through meditation, or just through the little voice in the back of our head. Help us to receive guidance when it comes to us, and to follow it. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, We thank you for this and all that you do for us in our lives, and knowing you're always with us. From respect, we thank you for your presence. And may you be blessed now and always. May you be blessed now and always. And again, I'll see